Hi, I'm Kyle with today's Moment for Hope. I read a story once about 40 brave soldiers. The story came from a book by DC Talk called Voice of the Martyrs, Jesus Freaks. In this story about the 40 brave soldiers, these soldiers were Christians that believed in Jesus. And the governor of Rome found out about it, and he was not real happy. These 40 soldiers were amongst his bravest, and he didn't want to see them die. At the same time, they weren't worshiping the same God as the emperor of Rome. So he made them an offer. He offered them money if they would just renounce their faith and decide to worship the gods of the emperor. Well, these 40 soldiers, they said, "You offer us money that remains behind and glory that fades. We would rather die than renounce our faith." So those 40 soldiers, they were taken to a body of water that had frozen over a lake. And they were told to take off their clothes and go stand out on the ice until they either died or renounced their faith. If they would renounce their faith, they could go inside where it was warm and go on with life. These 40 soldiers, they encouraged one another and they prayed for one another. And they prayed and asked God that all 40 of them would remain strong to the end. And while they were out there, they would sing. They sang 40 brave soldiers for Jesus. As the hours went by, one of the 40, he gave in and he said, "I can't take it any longer. Please carry me inside where it is warm." And the soldiers went and grabbed that one guy. The soldiers who were guarding the lake grabbed that one man and they took him inside where it was warm, while the 39 on the lake kept encouraging one another and they kept praying, and now they were singing 39 soldiers for Jesus. Well, the soldiers who had been guarding the people who were on the lake who believed in Jesus, they were seeing the love that these guys had for God and their faith in him, and it was an incredible testimony to them. And one of those soldiers took his clothes off and he ran on the lake and he yelled loudly, "40 soldiers for Jesus." Those 39, 40 originally, had been such a strong witness to the ones guarding the lake that one of them had decided to put their faith in Jesus Christ. It reminds me of the story of Daniel in the lion's den in Daniel chapter 6. Often when we think of that story, we think of Daniel being courageous and faithful to God and praying even though he was told not to. We think of how God protected Daniel while he was in the lion's den. And both of those are great points. But sometimes I think we forget the end of the chapter. In Daniel 6:25-30, it says, "Then King Darius wrote to those of every people, nation, and language who live in all the earth, 'May your prosperity abound. I issue a decree that in all my royal dominion, people must tremble in fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and his dominion has no end. He rescues and delivers. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. For he has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Daniel was faithful to God in praying. And yes, God protected Daniel. But let's also remember that as a result of Daniel's faithfulness and God's provision for Daniel and keeping him safe, that King Darius realized that Daniel's God was the one true God. And as a result, that word was passed on to many others, and they were told to believe in and to worship the same God. Yes, let's be faithful and courageous in following God. But let's remember that when we do that, it helps others see Jesus and believe in him. And it encourages and strengthens others who already have a relationship in him. I hope you have a great rest of the day.